Okay guys, I am here to talk about Novocaine. I got back literally minutes ago, so let's get right into this while it is still fresh in the mind. It comes out tomorrow, so I went to my movie theater's premiere, and for this being a pretty small budget film that I didn't see talked about pretty much anywhere, I found it through Twitter. We had a decent turnout for my small town. I think we had like 15 people probably there for this opening night that I saw no advertisements for. So by my standards, good show out for what we usually deal with in this area. So yeah, Novocaine, if you don't know, I'll just read you the synopsis real quick. When the girl of his dreams gets kidnapped, a man turns his inability to feel pain into an unexpected advantage as he fights a bunch of thugs to get her back. And indeed, that describes it pretty well. I'm going to try to keep this review a little snappier than normal because I like to ramble, but I do want to make sure that I get some advertisement out there for this movie because it is quite great. The genre pooling for this film, I would pin it as an action thriller and a comedy, and also I very specifically want to call this a reverse heist. I don't know if that quite makes sense, but I think reverse heist fits this film quite well, and you'll see what I mean if you give it a watch, I think. So right out of the way, let's talk about the leading man of this film, Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid is having a year, guys. Like, this man is busy. I have a sneaking suspicion he's gonna become one of the next big actors here quite soon. He's kind of having like a Timothée Chalamet type of year where he's doing a lot at once, and I think a lot is sticking, which is really cool to see. I believe a movie called Companion just came out recently to pretty okay reviews. I looked this up beforehand. Also in a movie called Neighborhood Watch coming out this year, and then of course this movie just came out today-tomorrow, and I know for a fact they're also filming the final season of massively successful show The Boys right now, so this man is keeping busy. This is my first time seeing him in a movie. I've only seen him on TV before, and this man can carry a film. I fear to say, I hate that I have to cave to this, because I kind of felt the same way with Timothy, where I thought I watched a few of Timothy's films beforehand also, where I liked him a lot, but I wouldn't say I was him or loved him that much. But no, I fear the same thing is happening again, where I might also be falling for Jack Quaid now, which guys, we can't keep having this happen. No, guys, I fear the worst is happening. I think I've fallen in love with Jack Quaid. I hate that that's my type, but it's pretty consistently my type. Like, if that man just had long hair, it'd be over for me. And I don't even think he'd particularly look good with long hair, but that does persistently seem to be my type still. That movie was so good. But yeah, Quaid delivers an emotional depth to this silly character that I think is well needed. I think the establishing 10 minutes of this film also do a really good job of setting it up but not breaking pace at all. It's a note I would make throughout this film is that the writing just felt really solid. It felt very well put together. It felt like a cohesive story. I actually should look this up. I don't think it is, but it feels like this would make a really good book, which isn't, normally how you think about a film, and I don't think it is a book, but just the way things laid out, like, plot-wise and flow, and the way there were, like, certain payoffs, it felt very, like, page-turnery, which is something you always want in, your thriller, action types of movies. Also, in retrospect, this movie got that predictable formula in many ways, but I will say, even I was able to get wrapped up into the film itself enough that I had 2 or 3 of the little plot twisty surprises come off as, like, exciting in the theater, and people were, like, laughing and interacting throughout this film, which was a good experience. Yeah, the other 3 leads besides Quaid in this film were the female lead, which was Amber Midthunder, and I had never seen her in anything, and she did really well in this. She's actually one of those little plot twists that actually managed to get me. I was a little surprised. I thought in a scene before her that someone else might have been the person. I don't want to give spoilers, but let's just say there was a scene before this where I thought it could have been someone else that had her payoff in the plot twist. And I loved her relationship with Nathan Payne in this film. They were a really good, like, comedic duo. They bounced off each other really well. They had great chemistry. Jacob, oh my god, who of course I think most of us know from Spider-Man at this point. I did find it kind of funny in my brain because I was like, oh, he's doing the thing he did in Spider-Man, like weird typecast, I guess I'll say, where he was doing the man in the car, or the man at the desk, or the man on the phone, however you want to label that. They even make that joke in Spider-Man, but the first half of the film is literally him doing that for Nathan Payne, who is also, in and of itself, Nathan is a superhero. In and of itself, Nathan is a superhero allegory with, you know, his ultra persona being Novocaine and him basically having superpowers. Which, let's pin in that for a moment and just harken back to, I guess, The Boys. There's so much beautiful irony if you are a Boys fan. How do people talk about that show? There's so much beautiful irony in Jack's character in The Boys. I've seen most of that show, and who he plays in this, it's such a funny juxtaposition, especially because obviously minus the politics and the superheroes and everything else, there is this borderline similarity between the plots of the two shows, and I would give anything to know what his thoughts were when he read that script, because I bet they were so funny. Actually, I'm wondering if there's like a 2-second shot in the very beginning where he's putting aligners into like a you know, the dish with the liquid inside, and I wonder if that is a very vague reference to The Boys. Doubtful, but you know, it would be funny. But yeah, just seeing him with the superpowers that we don't necessarily get to see him with in, you know, 95% of The Boys is it made me happy. But the leader of the bank robbers in this film was played by Ray Nicholson, and I knew he looked familiar in the theater, but I couldn't place it. And then I searched him when we got out, and I was like, oh, that is Jack Nicholson's son, and I immediately could see it in the face. But yeah, he played his role very good. One of the very few critiques I had of the whole film was that in the like last big climactic fight, you know, there's purpose and there's reason behind Nathan being able to get beat to living shit, but he just kept coming back, just one too many times for my liking, where I was like, okay, we're getting to the gray zone of suspension of belief is getting a little unbelievable, because the rest of that world is established as being pretty damn normal. Even Nathan is established as being normal because that weird pain disorder he has does exist in real life, as anyone who watches copious amounts of medical dramas will know. It's always a plotline that gets used eventually. But yeah, it was cool seeing Jack Nicholson's son. I thought that was a neat little moment once I connected those dots. Alright, now for my coveted third act big take of the film. Well, if you don't know, I usually like to drop my biggest opinion or like fun thing that I thought of in the second to last half of the video, just for those people who stick around to see it. And I have two for this one, surprisingly. The one was the one I thought of in the theater, and one I thought of moments before I turned this camera on. So let's start with the first one and the most obvious one here. I usually like to pick out some movies that I think represent the vibe and the energy of a film, to give people a good idea of what they're going into. And guys, within 30 minutes of this film, it is oozing Deadpool 1 energy in the best way. I love Deadpool 1. Fun fact about me, I deeply hate Deadpool 2, so this is saying something truly. This movie radiates Deadpool energy. Oh my god, Nathan even radiates Deadpool energy, or Wade energy in a lot of this. Not in the hand to camera, fourth wall breaky kind of way, but just in that like goofiness and the way he acts. And also in many ways, disability kind of functions in itself as a spin on the Deadpool like healing factor trope. Like obviously Nathan isn't healing, but he's receiving the same types of injuries and reacting with that same kind of goofy comedic gravitas that someone like Wade would. Also, this movie is a love story, which is literally how Deadpool starts. It's him talking about how, you know, he can die and get respawned, but in the end, it's a love story. And this movie in its purest form is also a love story. If you like Deadpool 1, I can't recommend this film enough for you. My second take, though, this is the one that really got me, guys. Usually I write out my whole review on Letterboxd before I film these, but because I just got back from the movie less than an hour ago, I didn't write my pre-review out yet. I'm going to write it after. And I was looking at the date, and I had the realization that tomorrow is Pi Day, because I work tomorrow, and I was trying to figure out how I'm going to get this video completely edited tonight and up by tomorrow, which I am going to do. But I was like, tomorrow's Pi Day. And then I just sat there and I was like, did they do that on purpose? This is the most minor spoiler of all time. Like, you don't even need to skip. Essentially, there's a pie joke in this film. That's all I'll say. There's a reoccurring, it's not even a joke, there's a pie scene in this film that happens twice. I think they did it on purpose. So I'm sorry if this makes it so you can't come to this conclusion by yourself, but I'm worried that if I don't say it, and if someone else doesn't say it, that this could become lost media. If people don't realize what they just came out on, that they might never realize that I think it's a Pi Day reference. And if it's not, what a fantastic coincidence. Who aims for, like, a studio release on Pi Day? Like, I don't know. Because I know sometimes big films have problems releasing on, like, any holiday. I doubt a studio would, like, let them have control over it based on a pie reference in the film. I don't know. Maybe it's just a wonderful coincidence. I'm hoping it's an Easter egg, but I just needed you to know it for if you go and watch it. Pi Day. Alright, last thing I want to talk about is a little unfortunate, but not really to do with this movie. This film does suffer from this horrible trend of the last decade, which is the trailer. If you're somehow watching reviews before even seeing the trailer, I would recommend against it. This is the type of trailer that gives away so much in the movie. Not necessarily in plot, but in, like, the spectacle of the film itself. I hate even talking about my film degree because it sounds so pretentious and my school's not even good, but in one of my film classes, we talk about the different things that make stage performances and film performances, like, what is their standout. That could be the story itself, or the costuming, or the big cast, or if it's a musical, the music would be considered the spectacle. This movie's, like, big thing is its spectacle specifically, and the trailer ruins a lot of the fun of that, I think. I knew, like, probably 80% of the injuries and, like, fun things that he gets into, which comes from, you know, just the synopsis of this film. That's not a spoiler in any ways. But the trailer will spoil some of the fun for you if you watch that first. So that's all I'll really say about that. And then, yeah, I usually like to tell people what they're getting into for, like, if you should see this in theater or not. Mickey 17, Mickey 17 that I just reviewed a couple days ago, I gave that a 10 out of 10, and I said you should definitely see it in theater. This film is very, very good, and it also is getting probably a 9 out of 10. I'm probably going to give it a 10 when I rate it on my Letterboxd, but that's because it's just I really enjoyed it. On, like, a technical scale, it'd probably be a 9. I don't think you have to see this film in theaters to lose a lot of the fun nature of it. It's not necessary. Like, Mickey 17 is, like, a movie you should see in theaters based on the way it's shot. This one you wouldn't have to, but I still think it's worth it. And of course, getting help in the box office right now with struggling film industry, I recommend it to go see it if you can afford it or find a time to go. It's a good film, everyone. I really enjoyed it. Alas, I am filming this to avoid the 911 spoilers that are absolutely every inch of my Twitter timeline right now, and I've already accidentally spoiled myself, literally just exiting the theater and opening my phone. I'm going to go crash edit this until 1 a.m. to have it up for you tomorrow, and then I'm going to be at work. So I will see you all tomorrow. Please leave your comments down below if you've seen this film opening night, or if this makes you want to go see the film more. And yeah, I will leave my Letterboxd down below. You can go read my typed out review there, or read my other reviews. I review every single movie I watch. That is all for now. Thank you so much, and subscribe. Really, though, I can't quite figure out why the lighting is so good. What happened?